I would say that the most common comment that I get across all of my social media, anytime I post anything self-defense related, is just run away. And if you want my honest opinion, it is probably the worst piece of advice that you can give to somebody that is looking to protect themselves. Now hear me out. I understand that in the grand scheme of things, yes, you want to run away, get out of those situations as quickly as possible, or ideally don't even be in one of those situations to begin with. The problem is, it is easier said than done. And typically, the people that are commenting to just run away usually do not understand what a fight actually entails physically. Now, the reason that I would argue that telling somebody to run away is terrible advice is because we're not teaching them how to run away. You're simply just saying, oh, if this situation happens and you find yourself in a fight, or if somebody pulls out a weapon, or X, Y, and Z, just run away and get to safety. Now, yes, the ultimate goal is to run away, but instead of just telling people that, we should be focusing on educating them on how they can position themselves or how they can handle the situation, which will then allow for them to run away. Because there are a few elements that you have to consider if you are wishing to run away in the first place. And I don't think a lot of people realize it. First off, and I don't mean for this to come across as me being an asshole, but you have to check your physical fitness. You have to be somewhat in shape to be able to fight somebody. And again, I'm not saying that you have to be in top tier shape, nor do you have to work out on a regular basis. But as you know, fights are physical. And even if you are in good shape, it still is extremely physically draining if you are not training on a regular basis, because you are going to be working your body in ways that you can't prepare by simply lifting weights. On top of that, you have to take into account all the different emotions and adrenaline and the fear and everything else that's going to kick in when somebody starts punching you in the face, or pulls out a weapon and starts trying to stab you, or tackles you down to the ground. There's a lot of different factors that come into play when you are actually fighting for your life in a real situation, even compared to when you are training. So even people that do train on a regular basis, when they do find themselves in a real fight, a lot of times that real fight is a lot more tiring than all the amounts of training compiled together. So again, you have to check your physical fitness, because not only do you have to fight this person off and potentially grapple them and fight over a weapon, but then you also have to be able to run away on top of that. And not only that, you have to be able to run faster than the person that is attacking you, which is a very good chance that that person themselves could be bigger, stronger, or even faster than you. So there's a lot of physical aspects to a fight that you have to take into account. And if you're not physically fit enough to defend yourself in the first place, then running away is never even going to be an option to begin with. In addition to that, what is your injury status? Now, I'm not saying that you're going to get injured in a fight, but you are fighting, which means that there's a very good chance that you are going to have some sort of injury. It could be minor. You could have simply just stubbed your toe. You could have bruised your arm. You could have twisted your ankle a little bit. Or it could be more severe. You could be stabbed. You could have a blown out knee. You could have a broken leg, a broken arm. You could have gotten hit on the head or taken down and have a little bit of a concussion. So when you stand up, you're kind of a little wobbly, you're a little dizzy. You have to take that into account, because let's say you're in a position that you are able to run away, but physically you can't due to an injury, then what are you going to do from there? So not only again, you have to be in somewhat physical shape, but you also have to make sure that your injuries are at the bare minimum that will actually allow for you to physically run away if the opportunity presents itself. Your location is another factor, and a lot of people tend to tune this one out, because depending on where you're located is going to determine if you're even able to run away in the first place. For instance, if you're on an airplane and somebody attacks you on an airplane, you're not going anywhere. You're stuck. If somebody attacks you on the bus or on a train, same situation. Like, you can move a little bit, but you can't literally jump out or run away. Like, you're stuck until the plane lands or the bus stops or the train gets to the next station. Like, you have to handle that situation. Even in like a restaurant or a crowded bar, like, yes, you can get out, but it's going to be difficult, especially if it's crowded, because now you have to, push your way through all these people to get to safety. So again, you're going to be forced to deal with the situation longer than you want, which again makes it more physical. If, however, you're out in the street or at a park and somebody attacks you, like, yes, you still have to be able to work yourself out to a position to, again, where you are able to run away. But once you are able to run away, you essentially have endless amounts of space in which you can run and get to safety. So again, depending on where you are located, either you're going to have multiple options of running away, or you literally don't have any options and you're going to be forced to deal with the situation until it's handled. The type of situation that you're in is also going to determine this, because again, if you're getting into an argument with somebody at a bar, you might be able to get out of the situation before it even happens, which means again that you're able to run away before you even get into a situation to begin with, which is good. However, let's say you are in the street and somebody just comes up from behind you and hits you behind the head. You can't defend that. You're on the ground now. You're stunned, you're concussed, you're injured. They could have just hit you and grabbed your stuff and took off, or maybe they hit you and now they're just beating the crap out of you on the ground. Like, that type of situation, you can't really run away because you never saw it coming. What if there's multiple people? What if you get jumped by one guy and then all of a sudden his buddies jump in, and now you're fighting off 2, 3, 4 people. You could be the best shape in the world. That is not an easy task to handle physically at all. So again, if you're not physically fit to begin with, some type of situation in which you have multiple attackers, good luck, because that's going to be probably the most physically draining thing that you're ever going to have to do in your life. But you have to take into account the type of situation. How are they attacking you? Are they using weapons? Are they grabbing you? Are they taking you down to the ground? Are you pinned up against a wall? Are they attacking you in your car? Are they trying to pull you out of your car? Is it at an apartment, a restaurant? Like, again, you combine the location with how and when you were attacked. Those two factors kind of go hand in hand, because again, it's going to differ depending on where you are, but depending on how you're attacked, again, you may not have an opportunity to run at all, or if you do, it's going to be a lot more difficult than if it's just some punk pushing you around or some guy just talking smack. It's easy to get away from a situation, or easier to get away from a situation from somebody that's simply just kind of pushing you and shoving you and talking smack, compared to somebody that comes up with a bat and hits you from behind that you never see coming in the first place. So depending on how you're attacked and where you're attacked, that plays a big factor into whether or not you can even run away to begin with. So is telling somebody to run away terrible advice? Yeah, I still stand by that, because we should be focusing on teaching people how to get to a point in which they can run away. Running away is the end goal. It is not the advice that we give to somebody, especially if you're an instructor. Don't be telling your students, oh, if this happens, just run away. Because that either means you're ignorant and you lack the experience to be teaching those situations to begin with, or you're just lazy and you're looking for an easy answer that doesn't necessarily go into more further detail. Now, don't mistake it for something that's impossible, because you are able to run away from majority of your situations. Yes, there are going to be some situations that you just absolutely have no choice and you have to handle, but there are, for the most part, always a way out. You just have to work for it. So it's not going to be an easy task by any means, which again brings us to mix all our points together. Check your physical fitness, check your injury status, check your location, and understand how you were attacked in the first place. If you understand those 4 types of scenarios and elements, then you can kind of get a further understanding of what do I need to do to accomplish to get an opening in which I can run away safely. So again, it's not easy, but it's not impossible either. Now, for anyone out there that's still arguing some of the points that I've made so far, I encourage you to go train. Now, over the weekend, I had a couple friends of mine come and do a seminar with me, because unfortunately they've encountered some scary situations where they live and they wanted to learn a little bit of stuff. So we put them through some different scenarios, different situations, gave them some drills to work on, and they struggled. Now, again, these guys are not top tier athletes, but they are far from being out of shape either. So they're extremely active, but again, fighting and working on fighting type training is a different type of conditioning than what you're used to. So again, if you've never done it before, you're going to get gassed out very quickly. And sure enough, they did. Even when we were just simply hitting pads or beating up a grappling dummy, a lot of times people that are inexperienced forget how to breathe. So they wear themselves out very quickly, which is what happened to them. They also experience what it's like to go and grapple with somebody that doesn't want to be moved and that is fully resisting. Now, again, if you do not have any experience and you are going against somebody that does have experience, you're in for a very rude awakening, because that person, whether they have experience in striking, experience in grappling, experience in, a little bit of everything, they can essentially control you at any given moment. They can do whatever they want to you and you have no choice. You have to just go along with it and hope that you can get out on the other end, because again, people that train understand how to move and control and adjust and adapt, and they understand how to work with different resistance and how to, there's a lot of elements in fighting that people who don't train don't understand. And in order to understand them, you have to train. Simple as that. But again, my friends forgot how to breathe, so they were getting gassed out. They continuously put themselves into bad positions because, again, they didn't understand what a good or bad position was. They were just reacting. So if they felt pressure, they would just turn, which a lot of times exposed their back or put them into just a worse position than they were originally in. But again, they didn't have any training. And on top of all that, they lacked coordination. They weren't able to hit the pads over and over again. They didn't understand, they just weren't coordinated in the sense of they could land their fist where they wanted to land it. And again, people that want to argue even just that fact alone of, I can hit a pad if you hold it up. Watch a street fight. Watch the guys just swinging like crazy and they're never hitting each other, because again, it takes coordination to be able to land a fist where you want to land a fist. You can't just put your arm out there and expect to hit somebody. You have to actually practice the coordination and understand how to move your body. So there's a lot of elements that they did not realize came with being in a fight to begin with. Now, did they learn something? Absolutely. But they realized also just how tough it is to work out of these situations. So I never once told them to just run away. Instead, we focused on how to strike properly, how to grapple a little bit, how to work in and out of the clinch, how to stand up from when you're on the ground, how to get out of different situations, which ultimately together leads to them being able to run away safely. And that's how we should be teaching self-defense. Instead of just telling people to run, we should be teaching people the proper steps needed to create openings and opportunities that will allow for you to run away safely in the first place. So what do we need to do to allow us to run away safely? You need to know how to de-escalate situations. You need to know how to strike. You need to know how to fight in the clinch, and you need to know how to grapple. And where do we learn all of those things? By training. That's it. No easy answers, no shortcuts. You have to train. So find a gym near you. Doesn't matter if it's just striking, grappling, self-defense, but start training. And when you feel like you've trained enough, train a little bit more, because you can never stop learning, and you should constantly be training as often as you possibly can. Again, some people are going to be able to train more than others, but it doesn't matter. Do what works for you. But I highly encourage that everybody out there at least takes some form of martial arts and trains a little bit so that they understand just what it takes to fight somebody off that is looking to harm you. And the more that you train, the safer that you're going to be out on the streets. Now, if you are looking for some videos that will help you prepare yourself for different types of situations, be sure to check out the rest of our videos on this channel. Again, we focus on self-defense, striking, and grappling. So check them out, hit the subscribe button so you never miss a new video, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe.